I would argue these are images of kids who were shot, in all likelihood, by Hamas, and probably by accident. I overlaid in Photoshop.
Vegan, did you see Hassan's JDAM analysis?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, he claimed that
Al-Ali
explosion that
Hospital.
occurred at the hospital was clearly a JDAM when he has no friggin' idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it was probably a Hamas rocket that went off.
PIJ.
That's crazy when people do stuff like that.
Oh, hello, Vegan Gains. Are you here to talk about Syria, or is there something else?
No, I actually wanted to bring up the New York Times article where, people are claiming those kids were shot by Israelis.
Okay.
You know, the bullets
Yeah, the
in
bullets
the
in the heads, yeah, and the
X-rays.
X-rays, yeah.
So this is the best I could do. I'm not a forensic analyst. They didn't actually do any like metallurgic or ballistic testing on the bullets that were found inside their heads. So there's not really any way of knowing exactly what caliber of ammunition was used, whether or not it was Israeli ammunition. But if you actually just use Photoshop and overlay a 7.62 by 39 like AK-47 round over the images of those bullets in the X-ray, it's actually a better match than the 5.56 M855 ball round that Israel uses.
So when the New York Times said that there were pictures that accompanied these X-rays, is that bullshit or?
Well, I don't know what the photographs have to do with anything. The issue is that we can assume the X-ray images are real. That's not what I'm contesting.
Oh, okay.
What I'm contesting,
the bullets.
The actual bullets
Okay,
themselves,
yeah.
because the claim is that Israel's responsible for these killings.
Okay.
They didn't do any metallurgical testing to see if it was an M855 ball round, which is the standard ammunition Israel uses. They also didn't do any like ballistic testing, so look at the the rifling marks left on the bullet, nothing like that. So I can only go by the X-ray images that were posted. And again, based on the size and dimensions of those bullets, and you can just overlay these images in Photoshop, the images on the X-rays are a better match for 7.62 by 39, which is the standard ammunition that Hamas tends to use.
Let's see.
Have you checked that it's not the bullet with the casing?
What do you mean with the casing?
Because when a bullet is shot, it looks a lot different from
Well, I'm talking about the slug, the actual slug.
Yeah, the slug. But I think 7.62 by 39 doesn't. That way, does Israel not use those at all, or
I
use a lot of 7.62 by 51?
I'm not aware if they use that at all. They may have like special forces or commandos where if they're undercover, they might use that ammunition for specialty purposes. But as far as I'm aware, again, they use the M4 and the Tavor rifles, which are standard 5.56.
Okay. I don't doubt that's one option. The problem is that we've got 3 pictures here. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of others where people have said that we've also got kids who were shot. The problem is that for each and every one of them, and some doctors actually admit this. There was one video on Democracy Now! Where a doctor was like, it's not our job to tell you how that person got shot, where they were, what the intent was of the person who fired the bullet. Like, they don't know any of that, right? So of all the things that happen in Gaza in urban warfare, it's like you can have someone who makes a mistake, like maybe like a marksman or someone even just with a semi-automatic, just see someone running by and in a panic they shoot someone, or you've got bullets flying through walls, or you've got someone engaging in criminal action because they're just likely, or you've got Hamas killing people. Yeah, there's so many. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, before you continue this, Israel uses the Tavor rifle, whatever the Tavor 21. There's 2 variations of it. The one uses 5.56. And one uses 7.62. So
7.62 by what?
by 51, I think it's called.
Yeah,
It's
so
Yeah,
near
the
that's
NATO.
that's a completely different caliber. That's
It's
a
the
NATO
one-
standard.
It's the
That's a much
M193.
larger, high-powered round. 760
Yes,
by
but
51 is the NATO standard. I'm talking about 760 by 39.
39. No, okay. So the 51 is the AK one, right?
The only
With
thing I
No,
can see
no, the
here,
39 is the
yeah,
AK.
the only thing I can see here.
760 by 39 is AK. 760 by
And you're-
51, that's like
and
a
you're
battle
saying
rifle.
these bullets are
NATO
the
standard.
39 variation?
Yes, I looked at 760 by 39 slugs, not the actual bullet with the casing, but the slug itself. I overlaid that in Photoshop with the images from the New York Times. It is a better match for 760 by 39, which is the ammunition Hamas uses, than M855 ball. And there's no fucking way 760 by 51 would ever fit on that overlay. It's a much larger slug.
Even for the one on the right, because the one on the right's bigger than the other two here, right?
Yeah, so the I can't remember what order. I downloaded the images and uploaded them to Photoshop. You're talking about the one where the bullet is like facing down and it's
Yep.
basically perfectly parallel with the image.
Yep.
Yeah, that one again, it seems to be a better fit for 7.62 by 39. The way the bullet starts to taper earlier on towards the base, it seems to be a better fit for 7.62 by 39 than for an M855 ball slug. 7.60 by 39, you start to see a earlier taper. With M855 ball, it's a bit straighter until you get to about the middle of the slug, and then it starts to taper.
Okay, what is this? Sulfur.
Do you have like images of this or what?
Yeah, sure. I can. Can I just message you?
Yeah,
and
you can message it to
then
me. Yeah. I messaged you anyway.
sure. So this was just a quick little doodle I did in Photoshop. It's not necessarily to scale. So what I tried to do is just place the bullets right next to each other
Gotcha.
and see what was a better fit. And like again, you can move the bullets over top and use opacity filters. And I found a much better net match for the 7.60 by 39. The M855 ball with that middle image, it seems to be too long and too narrow to fit in perfectly. So if you scale it to where it's fat enough, it seems to be too long. Whereas the 7.62, it seems to fit much more perfectly, where it fits in length and width.
Do you ever give
And again,
the-
you can just
Just-
see with the X-ray image, just the shape, like the dimensions of the bullet, the way it tapers, seems to be a better fit for 7.60 by 39.
you ever give thought to
this
these
isn't. This is assuming that
fragmentations?
this is assuming that bullets don't get like their shape affected by going through bones and flesh and shit.
Velocity.
Like, or
Velocity as
Well, no, you wouldn't get that sort of deformation. Like, it doesn't just squish and get fatter. If you're going to get a significant amount of deformation, like, it's going to get mangled and twisted and shit like that.
By the way, Loner, I don't know this documentary that Sulfur's talking about. Apparently, IDF soldiers filmed themselves doing shit like this, like committing this act.
okay.
And
I
she
don't know.
didn't stream suggestions.
Like, here's the thing. If you're going to claim these kids were deliberately executed, like they were just shot at, like, and it was just a straight shot, the likelihood of M855 ball not fully penetrating straight through a target, especially through a child, is incredibly, remarkably unlikely. It's like practically zero. That's an extremely high velocity round that's meant for deep penetration. So the much more plausible scenario here is that there were like semi-hard objects that these bullets penetrated through. So like soft concrete or something, like a shitty built building, slowed the bullet down enough and also wasn't hard enough to cause significant deformation of the bullet.
Isn't there different types of bullets for like different variations for these calibers where some are way more penetrative than others? Like,
Well, we're talking about M855 ball. That's the standard. So it's the green tip ammunition that you see.
and we
So
don't-
that's the
so
standard
what
the
they're
Israeli
using?
military uses.
Standard, but are they going with a like the usual
Yes,
ammo that-
like you're talking about like 99% of the troops using that ammunition. You might have designated marksmen who might use the same caliber of bullet, but they might use a higher weight ammunition and use a more aggressive rifle twist. Like you might have scenarios like that, but again, if we're talking about the most likely scenario where like 99% of troops are using M855 ball, then in all likelihood, these X-ray images, if they depict M855 ball, they would be M855 ball.
Listen, I'm not a fucking ammunitions expert. Everyone's saying green tip is standard only for DMRs. I don't know what the fuck green tip
No.
or ball or
No,
whatever.
it's not.
I mean, I've seen Israelis say it, and these Israelis are generally people that have been in the IDF.
What am I watching here? I'm gonna play this 1 second. I'll share my screen again. How do I shift it?
But regardless, like you're still talking about the same dimensions. Like it is going to be 5.56, so 5.56 by 45.
What about the degree of angle the bullet is inside the child? Like,
yeah,
I'm
so
not gonna be able to tell.
yeah, so only the one X-ray photo seems to be perfectly parallel with the angle of the X-ray image, which is that middle photograph. The others, the bullets seem to be either pointing away or pointing towards the X-ray image. Again, you can do some doodles in Photoshop and try to use perspective warping. And again, it just seems like it's a better fit for 7.62 by 39 than 5.56 by 45. You can just see from, again, like just making approximations of the angle, these bullets seem to be fatter and shorter than 5.56. So again, without any actual metallurgic or ballistic testing, they never did that. All they showed was the X-ray images. I would argue these are images of kids who were shot in all likelihood by Hamas, and probably by accident.
I think the chances of Hamas shooting children on accident
is extremely high. It's an active war zone. They hide in
I'd say
civilian
it's likely
populations.
that
They
both
also don't
si-
give a
yeah.
fuck.
It's
It's
likely that both
unlikely
sides
that
are
they're
killing people by
mistake.
accident, right? Like Israelis
No.
killed like a fifth of their own guys. A fifth
No,
of the
no,
Israeli
no.
deaths are by
You
accident, right?
didn't hear what I
Friendly
said.
fire.
You didn't hear what I said. I said it's unlikely that this is an accident if Hamas did it because
Oh,
their
No, it's not.
targets, if their targets are all in uniform, like the mistakes can happen, but it's much more unlikely for them to make a mistake when all their fucking targets are in one specific uniform.
They're not.
Not
in
to mention,
uniform.
they haven't shot civilians in the head before. They shot them in the leg, even if they came to like their supplies. They've been documented to do this.
Sorry. What I'm arguing is these are
Hey,
likely.
retard Israelis in the chat. I'm actually not defending or attacking Israel, you retards. I said it's unlikely for Hamas to accidentally kill. If they kill these children, it would be on purpose, you retards.
That I don't know how you
It
can
is
assume
really-
that. I don't know how you could possibly assume that. It's very easy to accidentally shoot civilians. Like again, Hamas embeds themselves around civilians intentionally.
Yeah, you're
to
telling me
hide from
that-
Israel. And on top of that, again, if you have civilians in buildings while you're having shootouts with the Israeli military, it's very easy to have a stray bullet just go through a wall and hit a kid. And again, that's like the only way you could expect to see X-ray photos like this.
I don't think this is
where-
reliable evidence, by the way, vegans. Like, I don't think the Photoshop.
Well,
comparison is
again, they did no metallurgic or ballistic testing, and the one X-ray photograph is pretty much perfect for this because it seems to be perfectly parallel with the angle of the X-ray, and it seems to be a much better match for 7.62 by 39. Like, it's not perfect, obviously. But assuming they didn't Photoshop these images and distort them in some way and affect the actual aspect ratio, if you overlay a bullet over another bullet and it's a perfect match, that's a good indication that that's the bullet.
Yeah, but you
Then
don't
should
have
this
to.
Yeah, but
Totally
Sev
bullet.
is just saying
Like-
that he thinks that, like, even if that's true, he's just saying it's more likely that Hamas intentionally shot some people rather than
No,
accident. But I don't know how
no,
the fuck
you
you're
wouldn't get
determining
an
that. I'm
X-ray
leaving
image
that one
like
because I
that.
don't know how the fuck you're determining that. But this is what is this a 762 by 51 next
No,
to a
39.
762 by 39? The 39's on the right, isn't it?
No, M855. So
On my
it's
screen. See my
M855
screen.
ball.
My screen
Oh,
is
sorry.
different. Yeah.
Let me just update your stream.
Oh, is my monitor not showing?
My question is, how do you know the degree of angle that the bullet is inside that X-ray? Like, you're not gonna. be
Well,
able-
well, again, you can just look at it. It's pretty clear. It's pretty much perfectly parallel. You can see a flat base on the slug.
Okay,
Can you
I'm gonna watch a video with some Israeli
Okay,
dudes.
okay.
Hang on, where's my share?
I'm gonna continue my work. I'll watch off the.
This was a documentary that I think was published by a guy on Twitter, wasn't it? Let's see.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing. Regardless of who shot these kids, those 3 X-ray images, in all likelihood, were probably accidents of some sort. Just because if these were straight shots where a kid was intentionally shot at from, like, not through a wall, it was just, oh, there's a kid, I'm gonna shoot him. You wouldn't see these bullets lodged in their head or neck or chest. They would go
Okay.
straight through.
I think
So-
there's two things that get conflated here with these shootings, like the testimony from the actual like doctors and these X-rays. If you look at what doctors said in the strip and what like volunteer professionals have said about the rates of like children coming in with bullet injuries and the images, I think there's one important lens that needs to be taken place. A newspaper can very easily, release a doctor saying, "Hey, this person was shot in the head." If this is the front page of a newspaper or even online print media, you're not going to show a kid whose head's been reduced to, approximately the consistency of Jello, which, it
Well, I'm only
seems pretty
talking about the
reasonable.
3
Like,
X-ray images they showed. I'm not
I'm
saying
aware.
every single cadaver they found was shot by Hamas. That's not the claim I'm making.
the claim
I'm just
making is that
saying.
the X-rays
I'm
aren't
just saying it's
necessarily-
dishonest to say all of these kids' deaths are clearly due to Israel when the X-ray images they showed indicate it was actually Hamas that shot these kids, and probably by accident.
I think trying to take, how to put this, make assumptions on the nature of all deaths and on the nature of the deaths that the doctors reported based on those X-rays is a false assumption for both sides, given the fact that due to the nature of what can and can't be published in print media, there is a pretty significant difference between, what can be testified for and what can actually be presented to the media. And what we currently have is through that filter of, okay, what is appropriate to publish, and that's likely going to be things that aren't going to be obscenely graphic in terms of like gore and violence. If you want to find videos of kids with their heads split open because of this conflict, they exist. You're not going to find them in the New York Times.
Any kind of ammunition will split a kid's head open. So I don't know what that has to do with showing that Israel is responsible or Hamas is responsible. Whether it's a 7.62 or 5.56, that'll blow a kid's head open.
My point
It'll
is the
blow
X-rays
their
are a
head
shit
clean off.
exercise for proving. My point is the X-rays are a shit way of doing it. Like the X-rays are likely going to show some degree of indirect fire. I don't think it's demonstrative of the overall. I don't think you can really use it to demonstrate to generalize anything regarding like the state of how children are being shot in the strip, given the degree of inherent censorship when it comes to publishing media with regards to like cadavers and gore.
Well, sorry. The only I don't know how an X-ray image is graphic, by the way. I'm assuming they showed these X-ray images because these were the only few they could find where the bullet was lodged inside the body they found.
Yeah.
So it's just a better visual representation.
Yes.
If
It's a
all
good
they
visual
found were dead
representation.
kids,
The skull isn't like shattered. It's stuff that you can show in media that's basically said, hey, child was shot. Here is clear demonstration that child was shot in a way that isn't necessarily going to be
okay.
horrific.
So again, yeah. So again, what's clear is X-ray images are not fucking graphic. It's just black and white, and you're just seeing basically bones. So I'm assuming the only reason. Can you stop interrupting me, please? I'm assuming the only reason they showed those specific photos is because those are the only photos where they could actually find a bullet lodged inside a kid. Most of those other bodies they found probably just had their heads blown open or they had big, huge holes in their chest or something like that, that gives you no indication of who actually shot these kids or what happened.
I
So
agree.
again, the narrative that some of these people are trying to say is that Israel's responsible for this. It seems ridiculous, especially given the only photos they published seem to indicate that it was actually Hamas that shot these kids, and in all likelihood, it seems to be accidental.
But my point is that from that, you can't, I don't think you can generalize any way you can't extrapolate anything from that.
I'm
what
not
could be
claiming
shown.
all of the child deaths are Hamas or all of them are Israel. I'm just pointing out the photos that they published that all of these pro-Palestinian people are saying is proof Israel is executing children indicates Hamas is actually responsible for these 3 deaths. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. And I would argue there's good things that demonstrate that there have been shootings of children that have been by the IDF. Like, the video that people have been trying to put instead of spending 40 minutes arguing X-rays.
Can I watch this video now?
Please do.
לא יודע אם מישהו שלח אותו, קשה לי להבין למה הוא, זה גם לא כזה מעניין אותי. הוא בא לגרור, אולי היה עליו מודיעין, אולי הוא היה בכיר, כאילו מה היה כל כך חשוב מהגופה הזאת, אבל בא לגרור אותו, התכופף לתפוס אותו ונתתי כדור אחד, פגעתי בו בראש.
הם חמושים בשלב הזה שהם משחקים אותה כאילו אזרחים, כאילו...
החיסול הזה היה 400 מטר ממנו, אז... פה זה לא משנה אם בגיל צבא, זה תוך כדי התקפה דרך אגב. אז הם לא אמורים להסתובב תוך כדי, יש טנקים שיורים, יש כאילו כוח שמתקרב, אז אין שאלות פה. לגבי הירי, זה ירי ברור ותקין.
הבן אדם הזה שאתה הרגעת איתו?
לא. לא, הוא לא היה חמוש, אבל שוב, הוא היה בתוך פתיחת באש, שלא היו לו כוונות טובות שהוא הסתובב באזור הזה והתקרב למחבל שכבר חוסל.
So this guy killed a soldier or an armed person, and then after that, someone who's, I guess, like younger and unarmed goes to get the guy that they shot, and then they shoot that guy.
Yeah, so I don't know that. I kind of depends on the situation. It sounds to me he was arguing that there were other clear indications that the person who was trying to pick up the dead body was either a Hamas member or had some bad intentions. I know that this is a standard practice of Hamas. If one of their buddies gets killed, you're supposed to steal all their gear and then use it to go on fighting. That actually happened during the October 7th attack, where some of them were engaged with the IDF and security forces. Some of their buddies got shot and were like gravely wounded, and they, in some cases, actually finished them off. Hamas finished off their own buddies, executed them, and then took their equipment.
Where'd you learn
So
that?
he might have had experience with something like this, playing devil's advocate here, that, okay, that's a clear indication that this person's a Hamas member, the way they were acting and what they were doing. Or it could be a civilian doing, I don't know, something remarkably fucking stupid for no reason. I don't know if that's a clear indication of a war crime. I wasn't there. I didn't see what happened. Because again, if I was a sniper and I saw some, I don't know, 14-year-old kid or something, go to a soldier, that like a Hamas militant that just got shot in the head, and then I saw him literally picking up his combat gear, I might be inclined to shoot him.
Yeah, but he didn't say that he was taking the equipment. He was saying that he was dragging the body.
Yeah,
He wasn't taking the
Well,
equipment.
presumably to take the equipment.
But that's not a clear indication that he was gonna loot the body to take the equipment. He was dragging the
I
body. Maybe
don't know why it wouldn't be.
What do you mean? He's a 14-year-old kid. Of course, he's gonna, be curious about that sort of stuff. I mean, I don't know
Sorry,
what's wrong.
I'm sorry. If you saw a shooting out in public and then there was a dead body, you
wasn't
grab the
shooting.
dead body and drag him off?
Yeah, after the fighting
While
is done,
the shooting's
of course he's
taking
gonna go.
place?
There wasn't a shooting taking place. He told you the
Yes,
shooting
there was.
over.
He literally
It was an
just
open
said
fire procedure.
shot the terrorist, and it was an open war zone. What are you talking about?
Yes, it was an open war zone, but he was saying that the fighting was over, but they were clearing the area. That's it. Like the kid was not even like a. You heard him say if he was in a military age, he wasn't armed. He only dragged the corpse and he shot him in the head. I don't know what. I don't know what there.
It would be easier to take
Anything.
equipment than to take a corpse. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't.
Again,
loot the body,
presumably,
again, I don't know. Like in a combat zone, I don't know why anyone's walking towards a dead soldier to do anything. But like, yeah, fuck.
Yeah, I know. It's a strange situation. I don't know why you'd presume, oh, well, 14-year-olds just really love dead bodies and fucking around with corpses and dragging them around. I don't know. That's a clear indication to me that the kid might have been interested in looting the corpse and was dragging it to a safe location where he wouldn't get picked off by snipers or something. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know why you can assume anything from that testimony that that guy committed a war crime.
Shooting a 14-year-old is generally considered bad when they're unarmed. I don't know. Call me some crazy hippie fucking psycho, but maybe when you see an unarmed child who's posing no direct risk to you, you shouldn't immediately dome them.
Well, that's
call
that's
me
just
crazy,
ridiculous.
but,
That's okay, dude. That's just ridiculous. We know what the fighting age for Hamas is. There's many Hamas fighters that are of the age of 14, and again, he's doing something extraordinarily suspicious in a war zone. Seems like he's about to loot the corpse and get the like weapons, ammo. I don't know if he has any body armor on him.
It could have this
That's
easily
Just to be clear, I've been through quite a lot of hang on. Just to be clear, I've been through quite a lot of entries on the Al Qassam page. The youngest conscript I ever saw was out of maybe 400. I saw one 15-year-old, no one 14, and the 16, 17 were like quite rare. Now, Hamas does like to encourage kids to fight in general, but they don't conscript them. So, just take with that what you will. Yeah.
He only said he was young. I'm just throwing.
Yeah, I don't
14.
even know what age they're saying here. Like.
Yeah, I don't know what age he means. I don't know if he means 18. I don't know if he even means teenager. You just said young.
I mean, you seem to be comfortable to say this is not a war crime and you weren't there, but you seem to be quite
I'm
comfortable
not saying
the
it's not a war
X-rays were-
crime. I'm just saying there's
I'm
not
trying
enough
to make a
information to
point.
go on to confirm it's a
He's
war crime.
just asking questions. Come on, like it's perfectly reasonable to be asking why somebody shouldn't shoot a 14-year-old. Come on.
Well, again, I just threw out 14. I have no idea. The guy
Yeah,
just
we're
said
going
he
with
was
what you're
young.
saying.
And by the way, what difference does it make if somebody's 14?
They're a child. Hello. I don't know.
Okay, so children
tell
can't
that to
kill
Jeffrey
people?
Epstein, all right?
Is this guy serious? 40, like, you know that 14 years old can't do anything that 18 years old can do. You know that, right? And for a reason.
Yeah, like 14-year-olds, there's no way they can actually like pull a trigger on a gun. That's like 4 pounds.
dude,
How is a kid going to pull a
that
4
kid didn't
pound
do it.
trigger?
with no
Well, a
fucking
14-year-old
prompting, no
soul can
nothing.
have.
Your response was, the 14-year-olds, they're terrorists. They're about to kill them all. We got.
No, that's not what I said. No, that's not what I
What did you
said.
just
I
say
said
then? What did you
what
just
that
say
kid
then?
was
Go ahead.
doing. What I said was what that kid was doing was highly suspicious based on that guy's
You-
testimony. It sounded like he had an indication that that guy was a militant. I don't know what exact age he was referring to. All he said was young. I don't know if it's 14. I don't know if it's 9. I don't know if it's 18. But he just said young.
Just so we
So,
just so we know,
going on with
here they're also saying that they don't really. What did he say? Something about? Hang on, I know there's like a perfect
Like a
sentence here.
fire zone?
Hang on, he said something. Why did I missed it? Oh, here. Tanks are firing. There's a force getting close. So he said there are no questions here about firing. Now, I think the rule with IHL is that in a situation of doubt, you're supposed to assume that they're a civilian. If you have doubt, you assume they're a civilian. Now, obviously, people are jumpy, people can make mistakes, but this guy seems to be like they're making an active decision from a distance to do this in what seems to be a situation of doubt. He's not saying he knows anything about this kid, but there's no questions about firing. So that I think that's probably stronger evidence of like a war crime than just child killed like that. I think that's probably your better evidence. I think is
I
this unit
don't
not
know,
being
dude.
investigated or?
So yeah, sure, investigate it. I'm all for accountability within the military. But the thing is, like I do have I have had friends who are combat vets, and they've told me stories like this where if you're out in the field a lot, you start to notice how a lot of people move, what they do. You see what's usual or unusual. Based on his testimony, it seemed to me like he just recognized a pattern of behavior with this individual where they were clearly a militant, and he had no question in his mind that he should have fired.
All right,
I don't
so
know if
he's
he
not
made the
saying
right
that, though, is he?
decision.
this jumpy retard shoots 14-year-old based on profiling. That's
Ambo.
just
Again,
Go ahead.
we're like okay. Why don't we use 7-year-old? Because like you don't know how old he was. I just threw out.
You're
14.
the one who said 14. We're going with what you're saying.
You can't say something and then say, why are you saying that? You're the one who suggested 14.
Yeah, again, I just threw out that number, just assuming it's a young
Yeah,
person.
so throw another
Whatever.
number. Go ahead. 15.
Okay,
what's the
fine.
number
How
you
about
think?
5 months old?
Okay,
wanna go
yeah,
with
sure.
that?
I don't know if a
Like,
5-month-old is going
whatever.
to drag a corpse around, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're
Doesn't
strong
make
enough, buddy.
But anyway, again, I think that sounds to me like very unusual behavior. He's in a war zone, shit is popping off, and he decides to go out and drag a fucking corpse of a Hamas militant that was just had his head blown off. That's
Maybe
weird. That's not
maybe it's
something
someone
normal
from his
people do.
family. Maybe it's someone he knows. And also in Islam, I think
Yes,
it's respecting
because
the corpse is
right,
very
when you
important.
see somebody's head get blown off by a sniper or a designated marksman, the sensible thing to do is to go into the open line of fire in a war zone where shit is popping off and drag the corpse of a guy who just got shot. Makes
It doesn't
perfect
sound
sense.
that insane to me. From a lot of stories I've heard, a lot of people try to go out and save the corpses. If it's someone they
Well,
know,
fuck around,
even if
find
it's
out.
someone they don't know, it's
Did you
better
just
to.
say so? I mean, there you go, folks. I mean, that's this
Uh,
man's opinions.
We talk about consequences for your actions or accountability for the military, and then you say "fuck around and find out." Like, what the fuck is the point of?
Yeah,
inside
dude.
the
Okay,
previous
so
statement?
like, why don't you just run up to like an Israeli tank and see what happens? Oh, they just wanted an orange. They weren't trying to like bomb the tank. Like, dude, if you do
Okay,
things that are weird,
unarmed
suspicious,
child.
maybe
yeah,
fuck around,
fuck
find
around,
out.
find
Just
out.
go ahead. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Do you like listen to what you're
Like,
saying?
by the way, Hamas militants
not
do tend to
approaching the
walk around
soldier.
unarmed. Like, by the
He's
way,
not
Hamas
approaching the soldier
militants
like you're
don't
saying.
have
we don't
they
actually
don't
have
have-
any footage
they don't
of
have
the guy dragging the corpse.
uniforms.
They're just taking the murder.
You know that even in a war,
but whatever.
wait, let's go around the
Buddy,
circle.
even
Hang
the
on,
war- even if
I just
you
want to
keep
go.
the-
I just want to go through a circle then. So, okay, Ambo, what do you think happened there in that video?
Like, okay, one of two things happened. He approached the corpse. Based on the soldier's testimony, which I think, if we want to trust, feel free. The guy would try to retrieve the corpse. I don't think the reason for doing that is known. I think there are malicious and positive reasons for both malicious and like neutral reasons for doing that. However, at that point in time, the individual was posing no like plausible threat, and as a result, I think killing him was purely, there was no.
I have a question. I have a question on the testimony. Why didn't he make a warning shot? Why did he have to shoot him in the head?
what to give away his position, to waste ammo.
And they
After
already
he had already
Like,
shot the guy. Yeah, no, please. Another that would have absolutely.
Well, yeah, there's like the warning shot is that you've just shot someone, isn't it? Like,
Wait, hold on. And the warning shot's that, and two, the kid's unarmed. If you're shooting above the kid or at the kid, if somebody else with a gun is there, regardless of who you're shooting, your position is compromised. So it's like, okay, if the fear is shooting is going to alert people where I am, then shooting the unarmed child and shooting near the unarmed child has the same impact on revealing that position.
No, because if they're dead, they can't tell any of their buddies where the shot came from.
So the solution is that they kill anyone they have, just in doubt.
Why would
That's
they
not
know
what
where
I
the shit
said.
came from if they shot the stones, like the fucking ground? Like they're gonna recognize the ricochet pattern? Like I don't get.
What are you talking about?
They don't know where they got shot from because the guy died from the shot.
Yeah.
But they would know if he shot the ground.
Yes, if you can if you can actually see the line of sight, see the muzzle flash, hear the crack of the bullet, what direction it came from.
Well, this
Yeah,
isn't
you
a
can use
video
that information
game.
to determine where the shot came from.
And you
But
think
you think
someone,
Mark Holmes
Assuming
already
the
says
guy
that?
misses intentionally.
you think someone that's preoccupied.
And that
outside
information
of the
wasn't already given away by the first shot.
Not
No,
necessarily.
because the guy is dead. No, like apparently no one was around him. Dead people don't tell any tales. So if you
Well,
get your head
apparently
blown off by a
snipers don't be
sniper,
watching
you
cinema,
can't tell your
so-
buddies, "Hey, I think the shot came from that direction."
You put the fucking position where this person already witnessed this guy get shot, but now he didn't witness him get shot.
Sorry,
so there's
what is the argument
realities
being
here.
made?
Hold on, time out. So there's two realities here. Either he saw the individual get shot, then approached him, was shot, and the concern was, oh, why didn't he fire a warning shot? You know, clearly, why didn't he fire a warning shot? He couldn't give away his position. But if the kid had
But you cut out for me.
I think
Did I
you
cut out
cut
there?
out.
Sorry, that's my bad. So two possible realities: either the child saw like the one soldier get shot, or he didn't. If he didn't, then he had no idea of when the death occurred, had no idea of like who had shot him, and he genuinely could.
The idea that he'd have no
There's, like,
idea when the
purpose.
shot occurred, like you understand when somebody's head just gets blown open, like their blood is going to look a certain way, like there's going to be a lack of dust and mud and grime and shit on the corpse. There aren't going to be bugs flying around it. Like you
There's a
can
difference-
tell
time out,
when there's
time
a fresh
There's
corpse.
a difference between a fresh corpse in the terms of like immediate or
This is retarded.
could have been several hours or like it's not like
No, you can tell when a body is being dead for a few hours. What are you talking about?
the point is that if he had not directly witnessed the death and had just approached it, the odds that he was able to tell, oh, this just happened, versus, oh, this could have happened a few minutes ago or an hour ago.
Wait, didn't the
Aren't,
guy say
like-
that the tanks were coming forward and that like shit was advancing? Didn't that? I thought that it seems like this is active combat. No,
Yeah.
not that they're just chilling like a
given-
few hours later.
Even given that, like trying to recover a corpse from that is not something unreasonable. Like people
I
who
want to say
die
something
tend to have
before you
family
guys
that-
make
I
assumptions, by the
love
way.
how he says it's not unreasonable. Like, you want to put this guy in Gaza and see if he starts dragging any fucking corpses around? Like, horse shit.
Can I just clarify? There were in the interview itself, there were a bunch of different events talked about. In terms of tank fire and everything else, like I don't even think that's actually even what he was talking about specifically. My understanding is this was like the kid with the dad. So it's like the first shot goes out, takes down the dad, and then the kid is reaching out. I guess you check to see if your dad's actually dead or alive, but you can say that's stupid or whatever else. But yeah, his unit specifically had over 100 kills from this sniper competition period. It's a really interesting interview. And yeah, there's a bunch of investigations happening about all of this now.
Okay, so basically, this kid had a piece of shit scumbag father who's an anti-Semite who wants to exterminate the earth of Jews, and his dad gets killed. So we should, be clapping and waving our hands.
No,
and then
so,
the son.
the sniper himself says that Palestinians are all Amalek, and yeah. So I don't know if you
I
want
don't
to
blame him.
get into a. If you
I
want to
mean,
get into a
clearly he
competition,
thinks that he shot a
I
fucking
mean, at this
14-year-old,
point,
he
it's
doesn't
just
give a shit.
it's just trolling. Why even give you the
Buddy, I
breathing space?
sorry, that's unreasonable. Do you know how like rampant anti-Semitism is in Gaza
Dude,
and the
Kill
West
the
Bank?
Arabs, kill them
Yeah,
all.
you don't fucking like.
Yeah,
you
but
don't
the way
change
you're
your
talking
rule.
about it-
Hang
Even
on.
if the kid is
Jesus Christ.
anti-Semitic,
Yeah, the
that
point is,
doesn't give you
hang
anything.
on. The point is, you don't change your rules of engagement just because people are anti-Semitic, right? Like, or even, it's about.
It's a bit of a reach to say this guy says Palestinians are Amalek, and then to say that he just wants to kill anybody, including kids that are clearly not a threat to him. I think that's.
I
a
mean,
bit of a reach.
he shot an unarmed 14-year-old that are like.
Well,
what do you,
no.
like,
Again, we don't know if he's 14.
Dude,
I just
Embo,
said
he
that
debates
number.
kids. It doesn't matter, dude. Of course, he thinks 14-year-olds are, worth shooting.
Look, he's just saying being 14 doesn't matter, and that's normally a perfectly
Well, guess
normal
what?
thing to bring up in
Well,
discussion. Go
well,
fuck
guess
yourself.
what? Guess what? Guess what? Here's an interesting
I'm
story.
guessing.
When I was about 8 or 9 years old, I almost murdered another fucking kid because I didn't like him. I almost threw him over a fucking railing, and I was going to snap his neck if the fall didn't kill him. So the idea that kids can't be dangerous or they're not assholes and they can't be killers is ridiculous. It's not hard for a 14-year-old
Alright,
or even
question.
a 9-year-old to pick up a gun and shoot.
Should you have been shot then? Should you have been shot then?
I want to see where this fucking story starts.
No,
Now. Hang on.
that kid was an asshole and he deserved to die. If I could go back in
Alright,
time, I
buddy.
would have thrown him off that fucking
I
ledge.
think you're in a unique case, vegan case. I don't think every 9-year-old think about murdering. You're probably just a
Well,
psychopath.
I can guarantee you there's a lot of 9-year-old kids who think about killing people in fucking Gaza.
I think it's just you, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't
Let's just kill them
Oh,
all. then.
really? Do you
Just
want to
in
look
case.
at the video? Do you want to look at the videos of the Hamas training camps where kids say they idolize Hitler and the only
they 9
reason
years
Hitler
old?
didn't kill all the
Yeah,
Jews is to show the
Are they
world how
9 years
wicked you
old?
are? And they talk about how they
if a kid-
fantasize
so-
about going
just
over
a
the
question,
fence
just a
and killing
question,
every
vegan
single Israeli citizen. You don't think there's a lot of 9-year-olds in Gaza who want to kill Jews? Are you kidding me?
So if a
They literally
9-year-old
get indoctrinated in
wants,
training
Ugh.
camps.
All right, hang on. I'm gonna watch
Are
this
you
fucking
just gonna
interview.
ramble?
Shut the fuck up, okay? Watch the share screen. I'm gonna watch this interview. I want to see the start of the story, and then we're gonna move on. So, there's a tunnel adjacent to the park. Okay.
ידענו איפה. אז ידענו שאוקיי, אנחנו כובשים את האזור, נגלה איפה המנהרה וייצאו המחבלים ינסו לברוח. אז נכנסתי לעמדה ודווקא היה, כאילו, הוא ניסה לגרור את הגופה של המחבל הקודם שהוא חוסל. נתתי לו להתקרב, הוא לא ידע שכמובן שאני לא הבנתי מה הוא עושה, הוא ראה חבר שלו עומד.
אתה לא ידע שיעשו לו אותו דבר. אני
לא יודע אם מישהו שלח אותו, קשה לי להבין למה הוא, זה גם
סתם בדיוק.
לא כזה מעניין אותי. הוא בא לגרור, אולי
I don't really care, okay.
אולי הוא היה בכיר.
Maybe.
כאילו, מה היה כל כך חשוב מהגופה הזאת, אבל בא לגרור.
So far they're talking about how they've surrounded a tunnel and then they find a guy and they shoot them. It seems like they're pretty clear that they think the guy that they shot first was a militant, and then this other person they're not sure why they're there. Okay, come to dragon.
כופף, תפוס אותו.
Bandit take him there.
נתתי כדור אחד, פגעתי בו בראש.
והאנשים האלה הם חמושים בשלב הזה שהם משחקים אותה כאילו אזרחים, כאילו זה.
החיסול הזה היה 400 מטר ממנו, אז פה זה לא משנה, בגיל צבא, זה תוך כדי התקפה דרך אגב. אז הם לא אמורים להסתובב תוך כדי, יש טנקים שיורים, יש כאילו כוח שמתקרב, אז...
So there are tanks firing. This is of course getting close.
אין שאלות פה. לגבי הירי, זה ירי ברור.
Okay, so it looks like there was a tunnel. They went and surrounded the area. Some people apparently ran away. They found a guy who they seem to be quite adamant that the first guy is a terrorist, so they shoot him. And then they see someone else going up to the body who's unarmed. They don't know why they're there. But then he says that it's like an active combat situation, and then they fire. And honestly, the only bit that matters here for determining anything is him saying it doesn't matter, and that they don't really ask, and they're saying that you don't really ask questions about firing, and that suggests that rather than exercising the legal precaution, which is to say that if there's a situation of doubt, then you should assume that they're a civilian. It seems quite likely this guy's not doing that. Definitely warrants a war crimes investigation. Whatever. Everyone's fucking
Sure,
retarded.
I
All
could-
right. Can
I could concede that.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, that seems about right.
Okay. Listen, leave it up to me to,
Pretty
to
weird
know
for you
how,
to
to
concede
know how
that,
sniping works.
after all of
okay.
what you said, but okay.
All right, I'm gonna kill myself. Hopefully with a sniper.
I
Okay.
personally,
back.
I personally don't really see a significant difference between killing like a 30-year-old and killing a 10-year-old. They're people. I don't know why it makes a difference. So I don't know why people freak out about the age of the victim. But anyway.
Hey,
Does it make a
I'll give
difference?
you a better option, buddy. Go to Google, and then Google like the closest psychiatrist. That'll give you the answer, buddy.
Okay, another
sure
question, vegan guys. Do you think
Well,
there's
I've
a
gone to a
difference between?
psychiatrist. I've been diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder.
That seems about right, buddy.
Yeah. So
vegan
how
guys,
many
do you
animals have you killed today?
I don't know.
You vegan?
I don't count them.
None. I'm vegan.
Are you vegan?
I am.
No.
Oh, so you're calling me a psychopath, but you're okay with torturing and murdering billions of sentient animals just so you can have some taste pleasure, but I'm the psycho.
Yeah. What about
think?
it?
Vegan guys,
Okay.
I have a question. I have a question,
So you're a
vegan guys.
fucking hypocrite.
Do you think there's a difference between sleeping with a 10-year-old and a 30-year-old?
Yeah, no shit. The 10-year-old
Yeah,
can't
so-
give informed consent. The point I'm making is, if they're both human beings, if
No, a
they're both
10-year-old can
sentient,
give informed
conscious,
consent
they
to,
both have
to,
a will to live. I don't know what the moral difference between killing a 10-year-old and killing a 30-year-old is.
So a 10-year-old can give consent to holding a weapon and joining an army, but
What
not
does that
having
matter?
sex with someone.
Depending on the circumstances, a 30-year-old might not be able to consent. There's people who are forcibly conscripted.
But in all cases, when someone has sex with a 13-year-old, a 13-year-old can consent. But we don't consider that a consent because he's not.
Sorry,
he's under
I
18.
don't know.
You're showing your
how-
analytics.
I don't know how raping a kid compares to the moral difference between killing
I'm
a
not
10-year-old
saying
and killing a
raping a
30-year-old.
kid. I'm saying that in both
Dude, what
cases.
is this?
Well,
you
no,
can-
having sex
people
with a kid
under
is raping a
18,
kid.
You cannot consider someone who's under 18 as someone who's adult. That's why we call people above 18 adults. Because when you're under 18, it's actually different.
I don't know what that has to do with the ethics of murdering somebody under the 18 versus over the age of 18.
Because you just said that a 10-year-old and a 30-year-old, they're both human beings. It doesn't make any difference. But it does make a lot of difference in many cases, including
Yeah,
the case
the 30-year-old might have a wife, kids, people who depend on him, more friends, more to lose. The 10-year-old, they're just a 10-year-old.
Are you saying it's better to shoot the kid?
You
than
could
the
argue it's
30-year-old?
worse to kill a 30-year-old. Like I don't know I don't know why people moralize about.
That's
Oh,
awesome,
it was
dude.
only a 15-year-old. The kid was only 14. The sniper shot. I don't know why that's an important detail. Like, aside from if you're talking about identifying whether or not he could possibly be a militant. Like, yeah, if they're 5, then probably shouldn't shoot the 5-year-old because they're likely not a militant.
I actually don't have any arguments. I think you're destroying yourself all by yourself. I don't
Yeah.
add anything. Any normal person
tell
would
us,
listen
tell
to
us
this.
how
Exactly,
you
this
love
woman,
slitting
I'm
the throats
telling you
of
off.
baby animals so that you can eat bacon. How about that? But I'm the psychopath,
It
right?
tastes good. It tastes good, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, it feels good to just blast people in the head in Gaza. So I guess
I'm
you have no
sure-
issue with the
I'm
snipers
sure-
in
I'm
Gaza.
sure it is for
The
you,
Israeli
buddy. I'm sure it
snipers
is.
picking off Palestinians. It just feels good for them. So can you please give me a symmetry breaker why it's okay to kill innocent animals, but it's not okay for Israeli snipers to kill innocent people in
You guys
Gaza?
fucked yourselves.
If the justification for murder is pleasure, please explain.
You guys fucked
You
yourselves.
know what? That
you
makes
guys just roped
absolute
yourselves
sense.
into a vegan debate.
I know, it's so fun.
Vegan guys,
It actually
you're
makes a
called
lot of
vegan
sense
debate.
from your part, I'm not gonna
You're not gonna drag me into a vegan debate. Your
Yeah,
name
because
is
you'd
vegan.
lose,
I know
because you have
that's
no
all the topic
justification for.
so you're gonna
You're
try
a,
to
you're a
drag us into
virtue
that because you
signaling
think pretty
fraud.
stupid about everything
You're a
you
virtue
said.
signaling fraud. You just told me pleasure is a justification for murder.
I
So
didn't
don't
say that.
moralize about Israeli snipers killing people in Gaza. They enjoy doing it. They love the target practice. They just get a pleasure from killing, just like you do. So fuck right off.
I didn't mention anything about pleasure. It was Z who said that. But still, yeah, you're not gonna drag me into a vegan debate because
Yeah, 'cause
probably
you're an
that's the
idiot
only
and a
topic
hypocrite and you know
anything
it.
about.
Well,
Because
you're a complete
obviously
hypocrite and you know it. You're fine with killing innocent people. So you're a hypocrite.
I didn't say that. I didn't even
Yeah, you
answer
did.
if I'm a
You
vegan
just
or not.
said you're
It
fine
was
with
Z, it
killing
wasn't me, you
animals for
fucking
food.
stupid.
You're fine with killing innocent people.
It wasn't me. It was the other guy. You know, there are multiple of us, right? You're not talking to one guy.
Okay, do you
I
eat
didn't
meat?
even answer
Do
it.
you eat meat? Are you vegan?
Yeah, I am vegan.
Okay, so you're fine with killing innocent people.
What?
I am vegan. I said I am vegan.
3 vegans on the call.
Uh,
What are we gonna do?
Yeah,
There's an impasse.
We're multiply.
yeah. You have
Anyways,
no
bring it up
further
on-
It's a
arguments.
Mexican
Yeah, you
stand-up,
just-
alright?
Just
Yeah,
because someone
I'm
asked,
just
do you want the
saying-
IHL? Yeah, in cases of doubt concerning the status of an individual, he or she must be considered a civilian. It's like really basic fucking additional protocol, 1 Article 50, yeah. Like everyone, every country in the world that's involved with the Geneva Conventions
know,
believes that. Yeah, okay, just so you know. Yeah.
That's actually so this is an important point to bring up. I knew a guy who served in Fallujah during the Iraq War. He was a Marine. During the invasion, his captain told him to shoot anything that moves. Doesn't matter if you think it's a dog, a cat, a kid. His commander told him, shoot anything that moves. And his commander told him, we gave them fair warning. They were told to leave. The only people who would stay here are either going to be militants or troublemakers. That's what he was told. That may technically go against international law. It wouldn't surprise me if, given the practicality of these situations, where if you are in a situation where you could get shot at by somebody that is hard to identify, a lot of these soldiers might be told to just shoot anyway. Wouldn't surprise me.
You realize that the U.S. intervention in Iraq was so catastrophic that U.S.
Yeah, no.
didn't intervene in any country after that. So I
didn't make an argument justifying the Iraq War. I was talking about.
I'm just saying that using that as an example is not the best example, probably.
Do you understand what I just said?
Yeah, I do. I think your point is
English
invalid.
isn't your first language, is it?
Jesus.
No, it's not.
I didn't make any claim justifying any of these actions. I just gave you a plausible reason for why they may be violating
I don't think that's a
international law.
plausible reason. That's the thing. I don't think it's a plausible reason.
What makes it non-plausible?
Yeah, you know what? I'm too bored.
Okay, so yeah. So, dude, maybe you should just go like talk to people who speak your same language because you're not following what I'm saying.
You're pretty boring. So I wasn't that boring, to be honest.
Yeah, it's boring when you don't understand what people are saying, right? Do you want me to start speaking in Chinese? You'd probably get even more bored.
Can you speak Chinese?
Yeah.
What, you can?
I'm of some young
I'm
guy.
kidding. No, sorry.
Just so we're clear, that Zionist girl got banned for less racist shit, Loner, than this.
Yeah, but the segment is not over, Sev.
What is racist? This guy clearly does not understand what I'm saying. I
Go
think it's
speak
because of the language
your own
gap.
language. Well, like you can speak English, you can understand. You were having a conversation with him before. You were having a conversation with him after that statement, and you were still throwing that statement around. Listen, bro, we're not children. We're not children. We're literally not children. We understand the fucking hidden meaning between the fucking things you say.
Clearly not.
Clearly not. No, we're not children, vegan games. Like fuck off. Like we either grow up or fuck off.
So I literally gave an explanation for why you might be seeing Israeli snipers violating this law. It's because they're told to by their commanding officers. I know that's happened in the U.S. military because I know people with that personal experience.
Yeah,
and I'm just saying this might be why I didn't make a moral proposition saying it's okay, and then this guy starts acting as if I did.
I think doesn't it depend if you're going into a combat zone where you hang on. Doesn't it depend if you're going into a combat zone where you only expect there to be people like who are militants? Like if you've given like enough of a if you've got enough foresight into whatever situation you're going into and you know there are not going to be civilians around, then obviously you're going to be a bit more lax with how many people you shoot, like shoot anyone that moves, right?
Yeah, so with Fallujah,
but as far for the IDF, one more thing. As far as the IDF, their soldiers are trained to not follow orders that are unlawful. Like that's their. So I think it's on them if they obey an unlawful order.
Well, again, I know with Fallujah they were given like what, a week or two to evacuate. So that might be an explanation for why they were given those orders. I know there have been mass evacuations in northern Gaza. They may be given similar orders just because the circumstances are kind of similar.
Yeah, is that in the US
I don't know.
protocol? In the US Army protocol. Is that in the US Army protocol or just the commander improvised and said shoot anyone you can? Because if it's not in the US Army protocol, the commander is not abiding by the law. And therefore, anyone, like Loner said, anyone abiding by the commander is not abiding by the law.
Okay, first off, this
I
was
don't know
not
what
in
that
Nor-
has anything to do with
this was
what
not in
I
northern
said.
Gaza. This was not in northern Gaza, and besides, they've told people to move back and forth into areas they've cleared out, and then made them move back into them, and then told them to clear out again. Like,
Yeah, sure. What I'm pointing out is that there may be soldiers who are just making practical decisions where if they think shit is popping off everywhere, there have been evacuation orders in the area. It's sensible to think civilians are just going to get the fuck out of there when they see tanks firing and shit. So when you see somebody from, 400 meters away who's doing something suspicious, carrying a militant corpse that just got shot, you may be inclined to shoot the person because you think they may try to shoot back at you later on. Like it's not the most unsensible thing to do. That's just what I'm pointing out.
And did we?
Well, mind you, there was a drone on top of them whilst this whole thing was happening. But yeah.
Well, did it record? Like, did it show?
Well, yeah, it shows you the guy getting shot. Yeah.
Like
what,
was
2
he
seconds?
actually dragging the body and shit?
It's a bit blurred, but it looks like. I mean, the guy said he was. He's like right
yeah,
next
that's
to the body.
the issue. It's blurred, so you can't even really.
But the guy said the guy
what
said
the
the kid
age
was
was.
unarmed. Again, like unarmed doesn't really like you can. There are loads of ways you can be unarmed but still participate in hostilities. That's not the issue. Is whether or not he. The issue is that he said that he did this even though there was a case of doubt. It seems that's like the big issue.
Well, I don't think he said he had doubt. He just said
He very strongly
didn't
implied.
care.
Yeah, but he also said that they don't ask questions when firing and shit, right?
Yeah. So again, it may have been a situation like that where he was just making a practical determination where there's no way civilians are going to stay in this area because shit is popping off. There's tanks moving forward. People are getting shot at left and right. They may have had local evacuation orders in that area, and he may have just assumed anybody who's sticking around is a troublemaker.
Yeah, but
That's
so
possible.
evacuation orders are generally not enough. But like, I imagine if you're talking about like kill zones or like fire zones, that would be like let's say you've surrounded a tunnel and someone who pops out of the tunnel. Like in that case, you're probably not going to have any doubt, and I think that's reasonable because it doesn't seem like there's any evidence that civilians have ever used the tunnels. So
Another problem with that is, Loner, don't we have evidence of Hamas literally forcing people to stay?
yeah, but forcing
Like,
if you're forced to stay or if you choose to stay, you're still a civilian, right? Even if you ignore an evacuation order, obviously you're putting yourself in the line of like proportionality and shit like that. But that doesn't mean they can like snipe you intentionally, right? Because if there's a case of doubt, yeah.
Which it was
Yeah,
the case of doubt.
I've seen there were some Hamas members that got interrogated. They literally hold civilians at gunpoint and force them onto rooftops that they know are about to be bombed. So that
Yeah,
does
and
happen.
sometimes some people volunteer to do it. They filmed that in 2014.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think Israel's policy is that even if civilians voluntarily go up, they wouldn't fire. That's why
By the
Israel was
way-
like, "Look at these operations. We saw too many civilians waving Hamas flags on the roof, so we aborted the strike, even though they did it willingly."
Just so we're clear and go back to the original shit, the Photoshop is not enough to disprove that Israel shot these kids. It's not.
So again, there's no evidence whatsoever provided in those X-ray images that those
Sure.
kids were shot by Israeli forces. They like not only do the bullets not match when you just look like
The
compare the
Photoshop is
slug.
it's not reliable evidence. Like
Listen,
I said, you don't have the degree of angle on these
listen.
bullets.
If you're going to claim the Photoshop isn't reliable, then you're going to have to claim the X-ray images aren't reliable because there is no ballistic testing, no metallurgic testing. If you're going to claim you can't identify the shape and diameter of these bullets, then it could be anybody. It could be Hamas. It could be Jesus. It could
You're
be
literally
Israel.
doing the same thing, though. You're putting it on Photoshop and imposing a bullet on it and saying it's Hamas. You're doing the same thing.
Okay. Listen, if the one image we know, the angle of that X-ray was pretty much perfect. If you overlay a bullet over it and it doesn't
doing
fit,
the
I
same
think we
thing.
can agree
It's
it's probably not that bullet.
No, you're retarded. You're actually just retarded. You can't really just tell them it's wrong and then do the same thing. You're just retarded.
Does a square fit in a triangle?
I don't know. Does it?
This is literally a children's toy. Does a square fit inside a triangle?
It's a picture. It's not three-dimensional. Are you
If it
retarded?
doesn't, buddy, if the shape of the slug doesn't match, then it's clearly not that slug that was fired. I don't know how
Okay,
this. A
what
square
makes
doesn't
it
fit in a
so? What makes
triangle.
it so? What makes it so you're right and they're wrong? Tell me.
Look
They
at
have
the
the
image.
pictures.
Look
They
at the
have seen
shape
the
of the
children.
slug.
You're doing it on Photoshop. I don't know, dude. Okay.
What does it matter? What does it matter if it's on Photoshop?
You're the one who's
Like-
coming. No, you're coming
Oh,
here
okay,
and
sorry,
making
sorry,
assumptions
sorry.
that it's Hamas.
If these
and then
kids were
saying
hit
it's not
by a
them.
square, if these kids were hit by a square bullet, and the bullet in the X-ray was square, and I overlaid a triangle-shaped bullet, can you assume that the triangle might have been the proper bullet? Because
No,
it's just
no.
Photoshop.
What if the bullet is a cube? I don't know, dude. Are you stupid?
Like, okay,
You're-
before you
you're
continue this
literally-
conversation,
Okay, no, I'm
literally-
fine.
the difference
So, wait,
would be a
wait,
different
hey,
thing.
I'm bored.
Before you
What
guys
is a
even-
different thing then?
hold on, see,
Can
before
we-
you guys continue this, I just want to say, Vegan, why does it fucking matter? Either it's not Israel that did it, which is what you're arguing, and even if it's proven Israel did it, you would probably fucking defend it anyway from the previous fucking argument we just had.
Well, it's by the way, I do take the position that Hamas is likely the one who did it, but I'm also giving them the benefit of the doubt that they probably didn't do it intentionally. And that's due to the fact that, one, I don't know why they'd shoot kids, and two, the bullets lodged inside of them. If Hamas intentionally executed these kids, the bullet wouldn't be lodged inside of them. So I'm not being uncharitable and just doing everything to say, oh, Israel is perfect angels and Hamas are evil and they kill and eat children. I think my position is perfectly reasonable.
I
Why-
think it's
but
also
why would they-
perfectly
why would they
reasonable
be
to say
evil?
Hamas is comically evil and it would kill kids for propaganda. So,
But also, why would it be evil then if Hamas is killing children? You think it's completely normal to kill children? So even
I
if
never
Hamas
said that. I never said that. I
intentionally
never
kills
said
children, you
that.
would probably think it's okay. There are
I
many
never said
plausible
that.
reasons for killing children.
I never said that.
What is
You
the?
say
But
that-
some
that-
people
that-
here think it's
that
okay to
is more-
kill innocent animals. So again, virtue signal more, jackass.
Whoa.
So are you saying there are no reason, there is no plausible reason to kill children?
you're almost at the
That's
Israeli comment.
I don't know.
Against human animals.
So I don't know why the IDF would intentionally go after children that are clearly not military age. I just do not see a practical scenario where an average IDF soldier would be politically motivated to kill like a 7-year-old. Nor do I see a practical situation where Hamas militants would be politically motivated to kill 7-year-olds. So again, whether the IDF shot these kids or not, to me, it's pretty clear it's an accident. In order for these bullets to be lodged inside of these kids, those bullets would have had to travel through a semi-hard
I
object.
think I've read at least one IDF war crime in the past where the guy was like, if I don't kill him now, he'll become a terrorist later and might try to kill me. Like that's.
I'm not saying that never happens. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that never happens.
There's
Probably
I'm
probably
just
more in
saying-
Gaza than anywhere else in the entire Israel-Palestine
Yeah,
conflict. Probably.
I've
Yeah.
heard that sentiment. I don't think it's insanely common, but I've heard it like a few times. So
But what I'm saying is the 3 X-ray images that were posted, clearly, regardless of who shot at them, they don't seem to be intentional shots. They likely were just bullets that went through a semi-hard object, and the people didn't even had any idea that they shot a kid.
okay, so if it's not intentional, what's the point of like shifting? If it's Hamas or it's not intentional. Like,
Well, again, people are using this as evidence that Israel's executing children.
Even
For
with
one
the-
thing,
Okay, without these fucking X-rays, people were saying Israel is executing children anyway.
okay, great. People are using this as evidence that Israel is deliberately executing children, and I just wanted to point out, because these bullets are lodged inside the kids, they clearly slowed down from something. So they had to have gone through semi-hard objects. They were probably unintentional shots. And 2, if you look at the dimensions of these bullets, they better match a 7.62 by 39, which is not an ammunition that Israel uses.
And
It's
you
something
can-
that Hamas uses.
And you can't zoom in and zoom out within your own Photoshop to make these bullets match the caliber you think they aren't or are.
What are you? You can't. I did scale. So I did make the bullet smaller or bigger, but I didn't actually change the dimensions. I didn't warp it.
By the way, I just question: are these pictures of X-rays or are these X-rays themselves? Like, because I'm pretty sure these are pictures of X-rays. So you're not gonna have.
What
an
do you mean by that?
As if someone took a picture of these X-rays.
Yeah, that's what the New York Times posted.
Okay, so you're not gonna know.
I'm using
dimensions
the
of the bullet.
photographs that the New York Times posted. I didn't alter the images in any way, and I also got images of 5.56 and 7.62 caliber slugs. I didn't warp them. I didn't like warp them to be fatter or longer. I kept them to the same scale,
Which
but
is-
I just
which is
shrunk them
which?
down or increased the
Which
size
is which?
to try to get the best
so
match.
is the gold one 6762 51?
No, the gold one. So the gold one with the green tip, that's the M855 ball. That's the 5.56 that Israel uses,
Okay.
and the orange one with the red line, that's a 7.62.
Okay. Why are the ones on the left and the right quite different in size compared to the one that in the X-ray?
Well, I'm assuming it's the angle of the X-ray image. The bullet may be pointed away or towards the actual X-ray camera, whereas the one in the middle, they just happened to get a cadaver that had the bullet that was perfectly parallel with the angle of the X-ray camera.
Sorry, just in chat, Shahir Islam finally learned to give some pushback. I don't know if you just like jumped in a minute ago, but we literally just went through the entire video and I gave my position and I said that based on everything we've seen here with the way that the soldier is talking, it sounds like he is not exercising the appropriate level of caution before judging whether or not this person should be targeted. It seems like he has not decided to hesitate in the presumption of doubt, which he should do, and that probably warrants an investigation for a war crime. You fucking retard. I know that you'll, based on what you've been saying in chat, you'll settle for nothing short of me saying that the IDF is just going out there and going to fucking sniper you and saying, your job today is get me as many fucking dead Gazan kids as you can as possible, because we don't want Amalek to grow up and suicide bomb your fucking little kibbutzim or whatever the fuck. So if you want that, go somewhere else. Okay, I've given my takes. Actually, Vegan seemed to concede on the point that I made earlier. So he wants to talk to other people in my chat. I'm just sitting back. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. Fuck you. All right. Is there anything else about that you guys want to talk about, or?
So again, I know, like, ideally, I would love to have metallurgic or ballistic testing on these kids to see who shot them. Maybe they could determine exactly what happened, whether or not the bullets deformed slightly, indicating it was like penetration through a wall or some shit. That's not what we have. We only have the X-ray images that were posted by the New York Times. I just did this basic test, which I think is sensible. Again, a square will not fit inside a triangle.
Okay, and chat is
That's the
saying
basic
that Israel uses 7.62 by 51. That's true, but this is talking about 7.62 by 39, which is the one that's more likely used than by Hamas weapons. Now, the only time I think that I've heard of that an Israeli would use those that ammunition would be when special forces have taken weapons from Hamas and they'll use it because they're like posing, right? They're pretending
blend
to be Hamas.
in or pose.
they're blending,
There may also be some circumstances where they might want to use that ammunition for certain like certain operations if they need better penetration through like an armored vehicle or like just a large truck. The US military does do that sometimes, where they do have some 7.60 by 3.9 for jobs like that, but again, this is just the standard round Israel uses, the 5.56. So in all likelihood, if you're seeing 7.62 in these kids, 7.62 by 3.9, it's probably going to be Hamas, not Israel.
Okay.
So I just wanted to point that out. That it
also
looks like
bearing
the
in mind
three
that these are like three
images.
images out of potentially dozens.
Yeah, I know. But again, I don't have the luxury to see the other images, and I'm assuming the reason they didn't post the other images is because it didn't make editorial sense if they just show X-ray images of kids with obvious like bullet wounds, but the bullet isn't there. It doesn't make for a good story. So these are probably the only images they had where the bullet was lodged inside these kids.
Okay. And there's no Israeli weapon that uses 7.62 by 3.9.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. There are like M4 upper conversions that can use 762 by 39.
Okay.
I don't know if the Tavor has an upper that can use that caliber. Like most modern guns, they do come with.
As far as I'm aware, it uses the 762 by.
It's not common. So they probably they do use the M4, which does have upper receivers that can use 762 by 39.
Actually, that's
But-
true. They do have LMGs that do use 762 by 39. They do use LMGs, but I don't think this would be an LMG. This person would not just have one.
What is this one?
Yeah.
This Galil Ace.
Well, and by the way, conversely,
Galil is
Hamas
not
does use. Conversely, Hamas does
for a
use
long
weapons
time.
that use 5.56.
Yeah.
So there are AK variants like the AK-101 that uses 5.56. I've also seen them with M4s and AR-18s that also use 5.56. So even if you see a 5.56 bullet, that could still potentially come from a Hamas militant. But again, if we're just like playing an odds game, Israel generally uses the 5.56. Hamas generally uses the 7.62.
Galil uses a 39 millimeter, like a 762 by 39.
If you're saying
I don't
Galil's not
know.
used by the IDF, who's it used by? Like special forces or
Maybe
Yamam?
not special forces,
Yamam.
There's
but like,
modern.
riot police.
The Galil's an Israeli weapon.
It's an
I think
Israeli
they have
weapon,
modern
okay.
Galils, but they're 760 by 51.
Okay. Wow.
They're 30 by
riveting.
39 here. It says.
Oh yeah, some are chambered in 39. But again, if we're just playing an odds game, most of the forces are going to use 5.56. But again,
I think the most common rifle they use is the Tavor 21 or Tavor something.
Yeah, and the M4. But again, ideally, I'd love to see ballistic and metallurgic testing to determine what weapon fired these, like, determining bullet twist, where the bullets came from. But we don't have that.
You're probably never getting that.
I'm just pointing out, it's highly, highly possible that the X-ray images that were posted by the New York Times are actually indicative of Hamas accidentally shooting these kids. That's just what I wanted to point out.
Okay. I think, given the broader reporting, I don't really want to make any determination on which bullets were used in the X-rays. If you're right, you're right. But given that there's quite a few dozen cases here, apparently, and it's multiple doctors, it probably seems to be the case that there's going to be a wide range of explanations for each of these. Wouldn't surprise me if some people were killed
By the way,
in war crimes. It wouldn't surprise me if there were accidents committed on both sides, because there's urban warfare in the shittiest possible fucking environment to be fighting an opposing army. But yeah, and I also
by the way,
these
these are also Palestinian doctors who are likely ideologically motivated to blame Israel for some of these things.
They're not all Palestinian doctors. A lot of them, some of them come from America. Some of them come from.
Well, yeah. So
I'm going through the
I've
list
seen
right now. You got
university
like
campuses.
Are the doctors campus protesters?
They could be. Who knows?
The doctors are. To be clear, the
being-
doctors are saying. The doctors here are mostly saying, and this is why this got editorialized by other people. The doctors are not saying we think this person got intentionally sniped by an IDF assassin. They're saying we saw kids with single bullets in the head or chest.
By the way, you don't even have to give this any fucking thought, Loner. This guy just said, I don't blame them for thinking they're Amalek and shit. He clearly is on one side and wanted to say it's not the IDF. He is what he's claiming these doctors would be.
Yeah, I know, but I just like to look at the cold hard facts, okay?
Fucking, it's so dumb.
We've had Hezbollah fucking extremists come here talking calmly about particular issues, we allow it, right?
And then what's it called? He's converted.
No, I mean the guy from a while ago, the Shia guy,
Oh,
just after the pager attack. Remember him?
No, I wasn't.
We had a very chill conversation.
I was there for 2-ton. I even remember his name because he's converted to both sides.
Again, I'm not claiming.
He tried to come here.
I'm not claiming all Palestinians are evil Nazis, but
thanks, man.
The only point I was making was I don't blame that IDF soldier for thinking all Palestinians are Amalek. given the rampant, insane levels of anti-Semitism
All right.
that you
Well,
see from
you-
Palestinians in that area.
Do you blame
Okay, I'm
Palestinians
gonna-
in the West Bank for being anti-Semitic?
Yeah. They're ridiculous.
Why?
Like they're
If the only
to-
Jews
to
you
a
know are fucking settlers
delusional
who are
extent.
burning down your fields and throwing rocks at you, why would you not be anti-Semitic?
Well, dude, it is to an insane delusional degree.
We're not talking about insane
who's that
delusional degrees. We're
guy-
just talking about them being anti-Semitic.
Oh, just like I don't know. I don't like Jews in general. Like, is
I don't
that
know.
what you
They
mean?
probably think like every time I see a Jew, I get fucking attacked. It seems like Jews are pretty fucking aggressive and like pieces of shit, and they like to build settlements and come
Okay,
up to you
well,
and burn fields and
there's-
shit. Yeah.
Well, dude, there's a huge difference between that and openly stating that I want all Jews to be exterminated and I want to create a
Okay.
Muslim caliphate. Like
question
that,
for
they
you,
even
Vegan.
idolize Hitler.
Vegan,
Like
question
it's a
for you.
common phrase there it's a common phrase there to say Hitler didn't exterminate all of you so he could show the world how wicked you are.
Do you blame a
Like-
kid?
like,
do you
I don't
blame
know.
do you blame a
I have
kid
a
growing up
question
in Gaza for being anti-Semitic? Like Hamas controls the education system, and the only Jews you've
Well,
ever
yeah.
met are
Well,
people that
and
come over
the
you in a fucking
UN.
plane and blow shit up.
Okay,
Well, yeah,
Vegan,
and the UN also
have a
helps
better
spread
question for you.
anti-Semitism.
Yeah, and
with
who are the
fucking
teachers? Yeah, and
textbooks.
who are the teachers in the UN? They're locals. They're Gazans.
Yeah, okay,
Well, I
if
don't-
was
I don't-
anti-Semitic,
So just
hold
to
on, hold on.
clarify, I don't know what you mean by blaming somebody for being anti-Semitic. Regardless of why they're anti-Semitic, the fact is anti-Semitism is extremely widespread. From that IDF soldier's perspective, I can sympathize with his position that yeah, he'd probably think all Palestinians are Amalek if most of his experiences interacting with Palestinians is them saying, "Oh, if only Hitler exterminated all of you." That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah, you can come up with any friggin' reason to justify why anti-Semitism might be prevalent
Yeah.
in Gaza or the West Bank.
Question
Yeah, they
for
don't have a
you.
great relationship with Jews. Yeah, they're indoctrinated. Sure, but
Yeah.
I don't.
I just want to ask you: do you think if you were a part of a village where your grandfather was almost executed for no fucking reason, you would be an anti-Semite, and it's justified then?
No, I probably wouldn't be.
Then why the fuck would you not blame this guy for like saying grouping all Palestinians as Amalek?
Just from the insane amount of like, dude, there were like cheering.
I'm
there was
telling you,
massive
hold on.
crowds
I'm
cheering
telling
in the
you, I'm
street
telling you, hold
after
on,
the
I'm-
October 7th attack.
Okay, I'm telling
Majority of
you-
Palestinians claimed they
Okay.
supported the October 7th attack.
I understand.
Like,
I
yeah,
understand.
I mean,
I understand the level of anti-Semitism. Don't worry, I'm aware of it, and I'm a part of that community, and I know these people. I know Palestinians are anti-Semitic. Just so we're clear, I'm telling you, they lined up people and shot them in the head, and this person barely survived, and that is my grandfather. Like, would you blame me if I hated Jews or Israelis?
yeah, I would think that's kind of stupid, especially being an adult now.
Okay, so but you're blaming the fucking
Okay,
kids
if
too.
my if my mom was gang raped by a bunch of black people, would you blame me for being racist and hating black people? Like, does that logically lead to me thinking all black people?
Why
need to be
aren't you
exterminated?
blaming Why aren't you blaming the Israeli soldier for being racist and thinking all Palestinians are Nazis?
Like, probably the majority of them are.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, Palestinians
okay,
can
hold on.
claim probably a lot of the Jews are bad. Like, if you
By the
just
way-
claim that, that doesn't make it okay
here
to
we
be
go.
racist.
Israelis live with 2 million Palestinians in their own country. So like, and like they have experience with Palestinians that aren't anti-Semitic towards them.
Yeah, so we could take what he's saying completely out of context. I think he's talking about Palestinian Arabs living outside of Israel.
I'm talking about
I don't know.
Palestinian-
I don't know if that guy literally hates all Palestinians, including Israeli Palestinians. Like, if he has a position where even Israeli Palestinians, he can't stand them, then yeah, he probably has an unreasonable, ridiculous degree of racism.
So it's Gazans you're
But
more
then-
particularly talking about, right?
Yeah, like Gazans and people in the West Bank. There doesn't seem to be a huge difference between Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza in terms of anti-Semitism.
How do you
It seems like
when you
people in the
think
West Bank are generally
Never mind.
less willing to, I don't know, just commit terror attacks, but there's a lot of terror attacks coming out of the West
Are the
Bank.
settler
And
attacks terror attacks?
You're just making a
the majority of
fallacy.
them
Like,
also
we're-
support
we're saying-
Hamas.
Okay, are settler attacks on Palestinian villages, are they terror attacks?
I don't know. It depends. Depends
On what?
on what the circumstances are. Like some of these quote unquote attacks are literally the IDF rounding up terrorists. There was one
I'm talking
recently,
about
wasn't there, where
settlers.
they killed 11 people? They
I
were
said
all
settlers.
Hamas militants.
I said settlers, not IDF. IDF do
Oh,
operate.
I have no idea. Maybe some of them are, maybe some of them aren't.
Okay, why do you have
That-
this
that's
type of
another argument.
nuance for Israelis, but there's no nuance when it comes to Palestinians?
What is the nuance I'm lacking?
That it depends on the context of the attack. That if this is a terror attack or not. But for Palestinians, it's always
So
gonna be a terror attack.
please give me the context in which Hamas attacking.
Embo, I don't mind people coming in and being fucking shitters and arguing with the chat about these particular things, okay? I don't have the biggest fucking problem in the world with that, okay? Like, yeah, it's problematic and you want to argue with it, that's fine, okay? I'm okay with people having these conversations. Stop sitting there and being like, oh, I don't know, the tankies who already think you're a Nazi are going to clip this and call you a Nazi again. I don't give a fuck, okay?
For example, that would attack Israelis that are fucking with their farms. That
It
would still be labeled a terror attack, and the IDF would intervene and attack these Palestinians. So,
Yeah, so I'm sure there's circumstances like that. But
no, they are. You don't have to be sure.
Sorry?
They are.
Okay.
They're 100% real.
Okay, and
The point
it is also the case that there are terrorists in the West Bank that need to be dealt with.
Okay. There's also terrorists in the West Bank that are Israeli that need to be dealt with, but they never are.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I would accept that.
Yeah, but you're making a fallacy because
Well,
you're saying,
by the way,
we're saying that it's always bad to be racist, whether you're Palestinian or Israeli. But you're saying like it's not okay to be racist if you're Palestinian. but it's okay to
I
be racist
don't.
if you're
That's
Israeli.
not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
That's
saying.
exactly
So
what you said.
look,
That's
You
literally
said
what
like
you
because
said.
of the
no, it's not.
of
No,
the,
it's not.
of the huge
No,
anti-Semitism,
no.
it's okay to be racist against Arabs. That's what you said.
No. I don't even know what you mean specifically by racism. Like the racism is usually defined as the idea of one race being superior to another race. Like
That's supremacy.
I don't know.
Oh
Saying
god,
it
just say
about the
bigoted.
same-
Just say bigoted. Just say bigoted. Fuck me. All right.
Does he
Prejudice.
always do this in every fucking argument? Like they argue semantics about what people actually mean by using one fucking word.
Well, yeah, it's kind of important to understand what somebody means by a certain
Okay, so
statement.
bigoted. Okay, I changed my mind. Bigoted. You're saying it's okay to be bigoted if you're Israeli, but it's not okay to be
No.
bigoted if you're Arab. That's what you
No.
said because you said because
No.
of the huge amount
Look,
of anti-Semitism, Israelis have the right to be bigoted. But when
That's not what I
Steph
said.
the same
That's
example
not
for
what I said.
Palestinians, when
By
we
the
ask
way,
if it's okay to be anti-Semitic.
Sorry, let me just ask you a
Okay.
clarifying question. Let me just ask you a clarifying question. Are the majority of Palestinians in support of Hamas, or like at least pre-October 7th?
That has nothing to do with what I said. Because even if I say yes,
Yes,
that
it does.
doesn't mean it's okay to be
Why are they
racist against
support- hold on.
Palestinians.
Why
Look,
are
if
they in support of
that's
Hamas?
not, I'm just trying to determine what you mean by racist or bigoted. Because if you can point to an objective fact about a certain group of people, whether the majority of them support like the death of all Jews or the destruction of Israel or they idolize Hitler, it's not racist or bigoted to point that out.
Okay, so if Israelis, of all Israelis, support killing all Palestinians or genociding them, is it okay to be anti-Zionist or anti-Semitic or whatever?
Is it that poll that said like a
I'm just
majority of
doing the
Israelis
vice versa
wanted?
of what you're saying.
It was like nearly half of Israelis, I think, in 2016, in a poll said that they thought Arabs should be expelled from Israel.
It was like close to 53%, and then when other like questions were posed, if Jews should get beneficial treatment from the state, it was like
48% for and 46%
So I would
opposed,
say that's
yeah.
racist or bigoted.
Yeah, don't worry. I
The-
know
the point-
country's racist.
No, but I guess
The-
the question is like would that mean that you wouldn't blame Palestinian Israelis for thinking like, yeah, fucking Jewish Israelis are pieces of shit?
I mean, you saw how they are. They're mostly afraid to fucking talk.
No, but that's I'm
The-
asking
the
vegan
point-
gains. That's why.
So the point I was making with the guy who said Palestinians are Amalek, I don't know exactly what he meant by that statement. Like he's also speaking in a different language, like Hebrew, that I don't speak. We can pull this out of context.
His language then.
Okay, can you stop interrupting me, please? We can take what he said out of context and we can give it different meanings. If he meant like all Palestinians, whether they're Israeli or not, whether they're Hamas supporters or not, whether they live in Gaza or the West Bank, they all need to be driven out of the land. Yeah, I would definitely say that's racist and or bigoted. If he just meant like as I don't know, if what he really meant by that was the majority of Palestinians living in Gaza and the West Bank are Nazi sympathizers, they want to kill all Jews, they want to destroy Israel, and he's just making a statement saying, like, yeah, I don't want these people here, they need to be dealt with, they need to be, like, I don't know, they need to be expelled and something like that. If he's just talking about those people specifically, I don't see how that's racist or bigoted.
Okay, but if people use your own argument and bring up the bigotness or whatever racism from Israelis and talk about that's why I hate Israelis or that's why I hate Israeli Jews, you would step up and say you're just being anti-Semitic because you're using.
No. No, if they're just talking, if they're just making a statement that, yeah, if you could point to objective facts that most Israelis are racist, bigoted, have unhinged beliefs about Arabs, like, I don't know, if the majority of Israelis wanted to exterminate all Arabs, it's not an unsensible position to say, yeah, like to have the same like inverse position where, you know, the Israeli soldier guy who said we need to deal with, you know, the Arabs that think like this, then yeah, the inverse would also be true.
And then don't you think it's a problem that we have people in the government in Israel that do think these things and have been voted in with was it 10% both for Smotrich and Ben-Gvir? It's a quite sizable chunk, and a lot of the people that are in the IDF support them. Well, not necessarily support them, but they agree with their ideology. It's a population.
Well, yeah, I'm not.
Their actions in Gaza.
So I'm not the biggest fan of the Israeli government. I think right now, as far as how they're handling the war in Gaza, I think they're mostly doing a good job. Again, we can talk about these weird circumstances where you have a sniper or a designated marksman shooting somebody who's young, could be underage, who knows. But if you look at the militant to civilian casualty ratios, they have the best militant to civilian casualty ratio of any military in urban combat.
It's assuming we assuming we know what that ratio, if that ratio is even accurate, though, right? Because right now we have no fucking idea. Yeah, right. Because
Oh, okay. Well,
the discrepancy right now is that again, in past wars, it seems to be that the IDF numbers have been close to correct. Like with Cast Lead, I think their numbers ended up matching with Hamas's protective edge. I think it was similar. But then the problem now is that if you take the health ministry's numbers and their breakdowns, which I think Israel verified like 80% of them with their own population registry data, and then the IDF's number, it doesn't really match unless you think like basically all the men who died were fighters. So
literally
that's why it's like that's why it's kind of hard to say, isn't it?
Hamas has also revised a ton of deaths, and I think all of them were women and children. So
no, this is post revision. I'm talking about the data like post the media reports, because it was the media reports inflated the number of women and children, but otherwise without that.
The point I'm making, like, it's clear they're overcounting women and child deaths. I don't know if
the media office was overcounting child deaths. The spokesperson from the health ministry did it, but I don't think anyone's accusing them of doing that just yet, because I think even Israel verified like 80% of the deaths through their population registry.
Well, sure. Okay, well, sure, but we'll find out more later. But that's the data we have to work with. The CIA also seems to be in agreement with the Israeli figures, so if you disagree with it, I don't know what to tell you. I guess Hamas is a more reliable source. But
I'm saying that 80% of Hamas's data is seen as reliable by Israel.
Right.
Okay. So I don't know why you wrote that off and just said, Hamas's data. Like, come on.
So I don't know what to tell you. That's the data we have.
Yeah, I know the data we have. Okay, yeah, fine.
Yeah, if this is such assuming these numbers are somewhat reasonably accurate, again, the idea that there's this widespread issue where practically every soldier is just shooting anybody they see, man, woman, or child, it's just not borne out by the data. You'd probably see far more casualties, period, and the militant to civilian casualty ratio would be way friggin' worse.
Can I see
No,
where do you see the CIA thing? I never saw that. I was unaware.
I can't remember. I think it was from 4 months ago. The CIA figures basically matched Israel's militant to civilian casualty figures.
Okay. I saw there was that one open source organization that confirmed 8,500 militants not long ago. But that was with like beyond a reasonable doubt, I think, to them. I mean, where the fuck is the CIA talking about this?
Yeah, so
basically
yeah,
the
so,
guy was calling
again,
all of
I-
Gaza Amalek, by the way.
What?
Basically, the guy in the clip, they went back and checked. They was calling all of Gaza Amalek.
Okay, Gaza. Okay.
Okay, so
If you think
putting
that's
it in
a
that
reasonable-
context, I
if
don't
you
think
a
that's
reasonable take.
terribly.
You don't need to say it because you like nobody will like you here for saying that.
I don't think Vegan Gains cares about no one liking him.
I don't care about
I
being
said liking
unliked,
as
but,
in
like,
yeah. Listen, we already know, man. We already.
so yeah, I don't think that's the most unreasonable thing to say. Like, yeah, most of Gaza supported the October 7th attack. There were cheering and crowds when the hostages were brought back. They were getting beaten to death. I don't think that's an unreasonable
There's
position
2
to
million
have.
people in Gaza. You can't know if they were all supportive of it.
Yeah, didn't
Well,
like more than half of them
um,
say that they wanted the ceasefire to stay in place a week before October 7th?
A week, literally a week. So that like most of them.
Well, okay. Well, I think we can. I think we can come up with some assumptions about that. To be fair,
Why are they assumptions? It's a poll.
Well, yeah, it's a poll with a specific question. Like, do you think there might be a reason why the civilian population wants a ceasefire to stay in place?
You know,
Like, do you
that's
think there's
referring to the-
practical, personal
What do you-
reasons why they think a
what ceasefire do you
ceasefire
think
should
they're
stay in
referring
place?
to? It's the ceasefire that was before October 7th. So the natural cause is that they think October 7th shouldn't have happened, maybe?
Okay, buddy.
Like, they're not necessarily against it, but they
Okay,
should.
dude. If you poll Americans, do you want more social services? They'll say yes. Do you want taxes to go up? They'll say no. Yeah, like polling data is like that. People can have two completely contradictory beliefs where they simultaneously don't want Israel to attack them, but they want to attack Israel.
Okay, do you think
I-
Palestinians are as simple as, oh my god, Israel, die, that's it?
A lot of them do seem to have that position. But again, to be fair, the IDF did release a report indicating that some of this polling data may be inaccurate and Hamas might have much lower support than previously indicated.
Yeah.
By the way, everyone that's saying yes, I might ban even without loners' permission because you're just being a racist cunt.
Whoa.
No.
Don't you think you're going through a lot of hoops
What is-
to justify
sorry,
anything
sorry.
Israel does, but not the Palestinians?
What?
I mean, all the nuance just goes
What
away.
is racist? Please explain to me what is racist about acknowledging the fact that there are a lot of violent anti-Semites in Gaza that just want to kill Jews.
Okay, so I think it's like
Why
Martin
is
Bailey,
there-
right? So it's like yeah, acknowledging that there's a lot of people in Gaza who really don't like Jews. Okay, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's I don't think anyone disagrees with that.
Would it-
But the other
yeah.
thing is all of Gaza is Amalek. Like these are two different claims, right?
It's not just that. It's also
Again,
like,
again, I don't know exactly what that guy meant by that, and he speaks a different language from a different culture. This is getting translated in a certain way that we might not be able to completely understand. It's kind of like, I don't know, I might make statements like China is disgusting. They do have bad hygiene policies in China. A lot of people don't wash their hands. Does that mean every Chinese person is like a disgusting, dirty fuck who doesn't wash their hands after they wipe their ass? No, but it's just an acknowledgement that, yeah, China does have a hygiene problem. They don't have good food safety standards.
Well, it's
A
more
lot of
that
the
it's more
bathrooms
that
there-
it's more that the guy is saying it like whilst also admitting that he's a little bit loosey goosey with shooting people, right?
Again, it's debatable what that situation was like.
but he said-
Depends on some of the variables.
You conceded to what he said, to what Loner like
Well,
deducted. at
yes,
the
but
end.
again, it depends on some of the variables at play because, yeah, there may have been an evacuation order issued. I don't know how long that fighting was going on. There was shit popping off. It was an active combat zone, and he was seeing somebody doing something extremely suspicious from far away, and he might have gotten orders to, like, just shoot any suspicious people. I don't know. But yeah, there is a plausibility that he wasn't abiding by international warfare standards, and yeah, sure, investigate it.
I think the direct quote is Gaza is like Sodom. It's like Sodom as a city, and those who live there are similar to the Amalek. It is really the Amalek of our time. Again, I keep going through this with fucking Amalek. I don't know what the fuck Amalek means if you're Israeli. Like, I've heard like there's an article here about a journalist being called Amalek after he gave fucking
the eternal
Netanyahu a
enemy
shitty
of the
interview,
Jews.
right?
It's the eternal enemies of Jews. Like the fucking that's what it means. Because like Philistines were the enemies of the Jews when.
Well,
like,
sorry. Looking up the definition on a website or in the dictionary is very different than how a phrase might be used colloquially in the region it's used or the culture it's used.
I live in that region. That's how it's used. So you're welcome.
Okay, well, look, when I call somebody retarded, I don't literally mean they actually suffer from some sort of like mental disability. If somebody, like, if an Israeli calls somebody Amalek, I don't know if they literally mean an eternal enemy of the Jews,
an enemy
or
of
if they
nation
mean
of Israel.
you're kind of like bad for Israel or something softer.
No, it's not something softer. It's like the origin of the word is the eternal enemy of the Jews.
Well, if I take your word for it,
they also called the Nazis Amalek, by the way, just so we're clear.
Well, taking your word for it, I think that statement is fairly racist or bigoted.
Okay.
Are you gonna go back on that like concession in like 5 minutes or?
Well, assuming what you're saying is true, I would say that statement does seem racist and or bigoted.
I mean, you can drag an Israeli in it. Well, you can drag a Hebrew speaker in here and ask them.
Is this a thing about protesters calling each other Amalek? Like Israeli protesters calling other Israeli protesters?
Yeah, because
leftists
and right wingers.
Well,
right wingers
look,
think they're the section of the country.
If you're finding examples of Israelis calling Nazis Amalek, and then an interviewer who gave Netanyahu a harsh interview Amalek, and then protesters Amalek, it doesn't seem to have that meaning.
Sodom's pretty fucked up, but yeah, I don't know.
Wait, hold on.
I don't know what it means.
Well,
like,
okay,
yeah.
Why do you think they are calling them calling each other Amalek? Israelis calling each other Amalek in a protest?
Because it's a very hyperbolic way of saying you're going to be the death of the
You're
Jews.
the enemy.
Shit.
Yeah, that's literally what it means. It's like that you're the enemy.
Stop
of
saying
our
ask him about Sodom, okay? Like, again, I know you just want to take every literal meaning because you want to see, oh, that person said Sodom, and that means also that this is the guy like who was calling for a fucking genocide in Gaza. I know that's how your brain works, okay? I know that like when I call something a fucking hellhole, that means like I'd be okay if it got fucking incinerated in hellfire and brimstone.
No
like,
yeah. There's no point to that. There's already people that say there should be a genocide in Gaza from Israelis and IDF soldiers. Like there's fucking
there have been much more clear ways than Paul. What do you think I'm going to read about Sodom and find out that it was really bad? But that's exactly what he means. Like, what did I just say?
And again,
if I call a town a shithole, it doesn't literally mean it's a fucking hole with a bunch of shit in it. Like, come on.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of racists who end up joining any military. I mean, the long history of like racial slurs in use in the military, like calling, the Vietnamese gooks.
Whoa.
So yeah.
Okay, well, careful with the slurs. And secondly, I don't think it's just racists joining the military in Israel. There's a fucking cultural fucking racist problem in Israel. It's a cultural racist problem.
Well, and the young man that is being interviewed in this whole documentary.
Sulfur, do you
An
you have a noise
American-
Sulfur? You have a noise gate on, and it's making me want to kill
Oh
myself.
no,
Can you
I'm sorry.
That's how you
Uh,
sounded when I told you your mic was cutting out yesterday.
Also, did someone say there's an Israeli in the waiting room wants to come in? Which one is it? Is it Bicep or is it Ron Sniffles?
No, it's not Jay.
Chase is
I don't
not
know.
Israeli, is it?
I have no fucking idea.
Do we
Chase
have
is not
do we have
Israeli,
someone who
yeah.
regularly says the A slur?
Yeah, no thanks. If you fucking paid attention to me conceding that there's a huge anti-Semitism problem earlier in the Palestinian community, maybe you should go back and listen, retard.
Whoa. Who is who wants to fuck, I don't know. Are you okay, Sulfur?
I'll have to. Yeah, no, I don't know where the noise gate thing is.
Sounds like you're fine now.
Okay. Go to voice
better?
set. No, it's not fine. What are you talking about?
I heard her
Go to voice
fine.
and go to voice and video. Can you see input sensitivity?
No, it's not. Oh wait,
Voice and
Yes.
video. Okay. What's it set to?
it was off for automatic.
Automatic.
activity
So it's
right now.
off automatic.
Yeah, it was off. Is it better now?
It's a little bit better. Turn it off again. And take
Testing.
that slider and just move it all the way to the left.
How about now?
Is it all the way to the left? It's like 0. As far as
Yeah,
it
it's
goes.
at 0 now.
I think that's fine. Otherwise there would be something else going on. I think that's fine.
Hopefully.
Just talk a bit more.
Testing.
No, talk for like an extended period. Count to 10.
Oh God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, that's
6,
fine.
7. It's better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say the gentleman that's being interviewed. He's like an Israeli American, but he was born in the U.S. And then went to join this unit. It's basically like an entire group of dual citizens. It's why there's investigations happening in a lot of these guys' home countries as well. Like Belgium was the first country that was like, okay, well, obviously our citizen is out just doing insane shit, so we're gonna take a look at this. But yeah, that was all I really came to say.
Okay. I'm not laughing at you. It's just that Embo Man is literally sending me the fucking biblical story of Sodom to make his point. Bro,
Why?
that's not how language
Why?
works, motherfucker. Okay, sorry. I'm going to go to a really bad community in Glasgow, and I'm going to call it Sodom, and I'm going to see how many people are worried that I'm trying to fucking. All right. It seems like that again. The statements that guy is making that are red flags are so much more obvious. It's when he's saying like, "Oh, we don't care," or like, "We're not asking questions before we shoot." That's enough. That's
Yeah.
there's plenty to go with there. You don't need to be like, "Oh, if we decipher the meaning of this term in the religious text." People don't talk like this, okay? When I call people retarded, I'm not literally saying that they have fucking ailments.
Hey,
most of
hey,
the
we
time.
call them the people of the book for a reason. They use the book to justify their crimes.
Whoa.
They call the people of the book in the Quran, yeah.
Okay. What are we?
Oh no, thanks. Can you stop talking about my community like you fucking know anything? Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. I'm getting one guide.
What are we talking about? What's next? Who's got any?
I have a question for vegan guys.
Oh no.
Sure. Shoot.
How many languages do you speak?
1.
Okay, so you were making fun of my English earlier and assuming I don't speak English well because I have an accent, but you actually speak one language.
You weren't
Facts.
following anything I was saying.
Yes, and you just suppose that I don't speak English well because I have an
Yes,
accent.
because you weren't following anything I was saying.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had a
Let's ma-
complete inability to understand any of the meaning of what I was saying.
Let's make this easier. Why did you think English isn't his first language, vegan?
Well, 1, because of his accent, and then 2, because
there
he
you go.
literally did not understand anything I was saying.
He speaks English fine, by the way.
Clearly not.
What do you mean?
Like I would
clearly
make a statement about something, and then he
No,
would
maybe-
accuse me of making some sort of like moral proposition when I wasn't.
Dude, you make retarded arguments that you yourself
Okay,
contradict.
Okay, no, meta.
Uh-huh.
That's a meta conversation. Is there anything else we can talk about? Does anyone else have any memes?
What's it called? I'm done for the day.
Did you see the picture of Bashar al-Assad that was leaked?
What do you mean leaked? No, what does that mean? Like he's like a nude? Sex tape?
They went to his palace in Aleppo because he has a palace in Aleppo, and they found like a photo of him in a bathing suit.
Can
In
you?
a what?
Is it?
It's
Yeah.
very scandalous. A speedo.
I'll send it to you on Discord.
In a bathing suit?
Like in a, like
A
you know.
speedo to be specific, all right?
Yeah.
What?
All right.
Zayn, you were too quick to describe what actual bathing suit he was in.
That wasn't me.
Because I
Actually.
had to look at it, all right?
Zeke, my bad.
This is Hunter Biden arc.
Maybe he'll
Okay.
get a pardon by.
I see him
Giuliani.
swimming in a t-shirt.
Looks like I might need to do an unban. What's this? Let's see.
Also, Sulfur, since you're here, didn't you ban that Zionist girl for saying similar shit to what vegan said today?
No, that Zionist girl was, well, I mean, similar. No, it was specifically the comment that she made to Bambi, calling her a rock thrower because she's
Oh, right.
Palestinian, and saying that Spider sounded like Obama.
Obama.
because He's black.
Jesus.
Yeah, no. So that's. Yeah,
She also
that
was
that.
calling Mirutsi Michelle. I don't know what.
This is he looks quite young here, doesn't he? This isn't like
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
Probably before he
Speedos
was
are so
because you know he wasn't
uncomfortable.
supposed to be president. Like it was his brother, his older brother, who was killed. So I
Yeah.
think it was the phase where he was like just a fuckboy in college who's supposed to be a doctor.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
his favorite band was Electric Light Orchestra. I remember that
Looks like he doesn't lift.
because he was in the UK. Wait, why is this blurred? Yeah, he definitely doesn't lift.
Because there's like a woman next to him, and I think they
woman.
don't want to show like someone who's not involved directly with him. But the full picture is also out there, like someone.
Yeah, I
linked
can
it
see the
also.
full picture, but what, are people worried that I'll put like a fucking target on her back or some shit? Like,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
don't
how
know.
insane people are. Like,
okay, well, I won't share the full one. I don't want to be.
Well, you know.
I hope there's no fucking HTS guys watching the stream. Okay, and
Hey, they're calling for peace now, so it's all right.
what HTS?
we'll just
mean,
wait.
they're-
We'll just wait
Every
till
day
things
they're-
calm down and see if any war crimes pop up. Okay.
Yeah, but like I'm just referring to the statements they're making every day, because every day they're making a new statement to a new
Okay.
like minority group saying like, "Don't worry, we're all chill."
Listen, I hope Syria can stabilize after this, and I hope Syrians get back their country. I just hope no minorities get massacred in the process. That's all I can hope for.
I mean, so far with the Ismailite, they reached the deal with their leader. Everything's
What about
going
the
all right.
Alawites? Aren't the Alawites the majority, like in favor of Assad?
Yeah, I mean
Yes.
they already issued a statement like telling the Alawites that yeah we're not
It
against
was
you
a
or
weak
anything.
statement, to be fair. They haven't been made the same assurances they gave to the
I would
Israelis.
say yeah, I would agree. I would agree. But
Yeah.
I think like whatever happens next, it's probably like the rebels, even if they win the war, they're not gonna gain every city in Syria. So probably there will be some cities reserved for Assad and the Alawites, and that would probably be like the cities in the coast and maybe Damascus. So I think the Alawites will have guarantees like by regional, like probably Russia mainly. They will guarantee that the Alawites are safe by giving them cities.
I don't believe them. I think the Alawites are gonna get fucked up.
I don't think so. No, I think it's part of the deal.
I feel like there's a lot of hatred for the Alawites in Syria right now. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not vegan, yeah, so I'm not gonna justify like
of course
racism
not,
against
yeah.
Alawites, but yeah.
I got it. Yeah, I understand. I
Wow.
wonder, is there a lot of
sure.
is there a lot of Alawites outside of Syria?
There are in Turkey. They're called Alawite. They're basically the same thing. But I'm not sure, like religious wise, if they're different or not.
Alawites and Alawites. Okay, I don't know.
They're
That's
mostly Alevis in Turkey. They're not called Alawites.
Yes, I'll leave it now. Sorry.
Listen, I don't know the difference. They're all Shia to me. Okay, we
Wow.
hate them
Oh,
equally.
if they hear you say that, they would be very insulted.
Oh, really? Are they not Shia?
They are, but like I don't know a lot about Alawites. I know more about Ismailites, who are also like technically Shiite, but I think it's the biggest insult to them if you call them like Shiite, like the 12ers Shiite. Ismailite like hate Shiite more than they hate.
Well, hold on. If they don't want to be called Shias, if they don't want to be called Shias, they probably should stop being Shias.
Yeah, but you know, Shiite, like they are different because they like the 12ers just stopped after 12 Imam, but then you have the Ismailite who didn't stop at all. Like they still believe that the Imam is living among us right now.
Oh, Imam Mahdi, right? I forgot about him.
No, for the Ismailite it's the Aga Khan actually.
Oh, for fuck's sake, there's just too many fucking variations.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, bye.
But
Yeah.
why?
So
Is there someone who's supposed to get unbanned? This Seabugs person. Sulfur, do you know about this?
Seabugs from the Discord or from
Yeah,
the chat?
Discord.
I don't know. I think they were banned. What in
They were
response
banned a
to
while ago because it
the
was,
election?
yeah, they're like a Trumper. And I think people just didn't want to be hanging out with a Trumper after Trump won. But I thought it was gonna be a temp ban. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I know Seabugs was timed out from chat today for some pretty dismissive comments about Ukrainians and the child soldiers being abducted from Kazakhstan and a couple of other countries by Russia. But no, if you want to bring that person back to Discord, I did have some other names though for YouTube chat on ban, but other than that,
Okay, what are the other ones then?
Mofal was the first. Let me see. Actually,
Oh, they're here. Why are they? Okay, I see them. Are they in YouTube chat? What's their YouTube chat name? You sent it to me.
I think it's still Mofal.
Have you been following my drama,
Orange?
Vegan Gains? Why are you talking about snipers?
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, I saw a video you posted, I think a few days ago, where you were some guy you were debating. I think it was the crazy dude who said Israel didn't have any right to even attack the Hamas militants on October 7th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he brought up the X-ray images, and I ended up just talking about it on stream, and then I had the idea of just comparing the slugs. So I figured I'd just bring it up to you.
Okay.
You could maybe, if somebody brings that up, it might be useful to point out that there's actually a good indication that the kids that were shot in the X-ray images were actually shot by Hamas.
I think
But
with
again,
situations
not
like
question.
that, I tend to go.
Wait.
With situations like that, I tend
Ironic
to just say
accent.
like I don't know and you don't know either. Generally, like there's so many different, like if we're talking about the broad group, like of the dozens of people that they were talking about, it's like there's maybe one of like 5 possible things, and they're all like maybe various levels of likelihood, but not even that much. So, yeah.
Well, sure, but I mean, if we're talking about the ones that we can reasonably end up identifying, having a bullet left over is really useful forensic evidence. So
we can't do that though, right?
Yeah, Vegan. I want to ask, what do you know about bullets in general? Like, are you knowledgeable about this sort of thing?
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty interested in firearms in general. So
no.
I'm not like a ballistics expert, but
Why do you call them slugs then?
that's what they are.
They're not,
They're
bro. They're
not
bullets.
slugs.
The actual projectile is the slug.
It's not a slug.
Projectile is a bullet.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not a slug. A slug is
Yes,
from a
it's
shotgun.
referred to as a slug. No,
No.
they're all slugs.
No, they're not.
Yes, so you typically use the term slug when it comes to a shotgun projectile, but no, you can call the actual projectile of a bullet a slug. That's a normal thing to call it.
You can, but that would be retarded.
By
They
the
do that
way,
in
when you see
Inglourious
the
Basterds,
police,
right? The pistol shot. It's like they call it a slug, right?
yeah, the police usually say 9
most
mil
likely
slug.
no.
Like that's just a normal thing to call a bullet. A single projectile leaving a bullet is usually called a slug.
Or a bullet.
Yeah, or slug. You can use that term too. Just to be like, you usually use the term slug to as when you say bullet, that can also refer to the combination of the slug and the casing. So just to be more precise, you say slug, 9mm slug, as in the actual projectile itself, not the slug and the casing.
Where did you learn this? Where did you learn that?
I don't know, like where did you just pick it up.
Oh.
Like there's no specific source, but like that's just the normal term that's used when referring to like a bullet.
Okay, sure.
What else?
Vegan, did you see Hassan's JDAM analysis?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, he claimed what that
Al-Ali
explosion that
Hospital.
occurred at the hospital was clearly a JDAM when he has no friggin' idea what he's talking about. And it was probably a Hamas rocket that went off.
PIJ.
That's crazy when people do stuff like that.
I thought that was a pretty obvious setup.
All right, well, I'm going to head out and probably just start my own stream, but it was good talking to you, Lonerbox. I enjoy the content.
You too, man. Take care, buddy.
All right, take care, dude.
Bye-bye.
Peace out, look up.
That was just awful, dude.
What are you talking about? That was content.
That
You
was
guys are too
kind of
sensitive.
content,
Okay? Like,
Lonerbox.
bullet, cartridge case,
It's not
gunpowder.
sensitive.
Bro, the bullet
It's not
analysis
called a slug.
is fucking insane.
I've heard them called slugs in films. I don't know. In Glorious Bastards, he calls it a slug in her leg. I don't know. Maybe it's an Americanism.
It's just like a slang term, right? It's not.
Yeah. So if
actual
it's slang,
term.
that means it's not subject to rules. Like you would call whatever the fuck you want a slug. If it's like a bullet, yeah.
Yeah, but he's trying to put himself across as some type of expert when he's talking about matching up bullets in kids' skulls and stuff, right?
I mean, he was talking about the importance of words and semantics. So
Okay.